Some people walk into a room, and without saying much, they are noticed. Not because they are louder, not because they are richer, not because they are the smartest person there. Yet somehow, people listen to them. People trust them. They feel their presence before they even speak. And then there are others, talented people, hard-working people, good people, who keep getting overlooked, misunderstood, disrespected, or left wondering why life feels harder than it should. They study more, work more, try harder, but something invisible keeps costing them opportunities. Something schools rarely teach, something families often misunderstand, something many people never realize they are missing until life has already humbled them. Emotional intelligence. The ability to remain calm when others lose control, to read tension before it becomes conflict, to understand people without being manipulated by them, to speak with precision, to carry confidence without noise, and to protect your peace in a world constantly trying to disturb it. Because the truth is, many people are not losing because they lack talent. They are losing because they react too quickly, trust too blindly, speak too carelessly, need too much approval, and let temporary emotions make permanent damage. Some people ruin years in moments of poor emotional control. One angry reaction, one desperate message, one insecure decision, one unnecessary argument, one inability to walk away. And the cost is rarely immediate. It appears later, in broken relationships, missed opportunities, damaged reputations, quiet regret, and the painful realization that intelligence alone was never enough. Because life is not lived on paper. It is lived through pressure, through people, through disappointment, through temptation, through conflict, through silence, through moments where who you are matters more than what you know. And that is where many people collapse. They know what to do, but cannot control themselves long enough to do it. They know what to say, but say it too late or too emotionally. They know they deserve better, but keep choosing what wounds them. They know their worth, until rejection makes them forget it. So if you have ever felt overlooked, if you have ever replayed conversations in your mind, if you have ever let someone's mood control your day, if you have ever known better, yet still reacted worse, then stay with me. Because this is not just about becoming smarter with emotions. This is about becoming harder to shake, harder to manipulate, harder to disrespect, and harder to defeat. Tonight, you are going to understand why some people quietly win rooms, why calm people often carry hidden power, why needing less makes you stronger, why silence can be more dangerous than noise, and why mastering yourself may be the greatest unfair advantage left in this world. By the end of this journey, you may never look at people the same way again. More importantly, you may never look at yourself the same way again. But before you can master emotion, you must first understand the lie that traps so many intelligent people. The belief that being smart is enough.
Chapter 1: Why Smart People Still Lose. There is a quiet frustration many intelligent people carry. They rarely say it out loud, but they feel it often. They know they are capable, yet life does not seem to reflect it. They know they have depth, yet shallow people keep getting ahead. They know they can add value, yet they remain overlooked, ignored, underestimated. And over time, this creates a dangerous confusion. How can someone know they have potential and still feel invisible? How can someone work hard and still feel left behind? How can someone be smart enough to understand the game but still fail to win it? Because intelligence alone was never the whole game. That is the lie many people were raised on. Study hard. Be competent. Be talented. Know more than others. And success will naturally follow. But the real world does not reward people the way classrooms do. Classrooms reward answers. Life rewards awareness. Classrooms reward memory. Life rewards emotional control. Classrooms reward individual performance. Life rewards relationships, timing, trust, resilience. Many smart people enter adulthood carrying the wrong map. They think knowledge automatically creates leverage. So when opportunities pass them, when less qualified people rise faster, when louder people gain attention, when average people build stronger networks, they become bitter. Not because they are weak, because they are confused. They did what they were told, yet reality gave a different result. And this is where many intelligent people become trapped. Instead of evolving, they retreat deeper into intellect. They collect more information, more theories, more podcasts, more books, more credentials, hoping the next piece of knowledge will solve what knowledge alone cannot. But some problems are not informational. They are emotional. You may know what to say, but freeze under pressure. You may know your worth, but tolerate disrespect. You may know the right path, but keep choosing comfort. You may know discipline matters, but let moods control consistency. You may know a relationship is unhealthy, but fear loneliness more than pain. This is the painful truth. Many people are not blocked by ignorance. They are blocked by mismanagement of self. Because intelligence can analyze patterns, but it cannot automatically heal insecurity. Intelligence can explain boundaries, but it cannot automatically enforce them. Intelligence can recognize manipulation, but it cannot automatically walk away from it. Intelligence can define discipline, but it cannot automatically act when motivation disappears. This is why some brilliant people live average lives, and some average people build extraordinary ones. The brilliant person may understand everything, but hesitate constantly. The average person may know less, but moves decisively. The brilliant person may overthink every risk. The average person learns by action. The brilliant person may need certainty. The average person tolerates discomfort. And life often rewards movement more than mental perfection. There is another reason smart people lose: pride. Intelligence can become identity. They become attached to being the smart one. So they avoid beginner stages, avoid embarrassment, avoid asking for help, avoid visible failure. They would rather appear capable than become powerful. This keeps many gifted people stuck in private potential, untested, unexpressed, unrewarded. Potential means nothing if fear guards the door. And then comes comparison. Watching louder people win. Watching social people connect. Watching bold people rise. They judge those people as shallow. Sometimes they are. But sometimes those people simply developed strengths intelligence could not provide. Presence, confidence, emotional steadiness, relational skill, execution under uncertainty. The world often opens to people who can handle friction, not just people who can solve equations. This truth can hurt, especially if you built your identity around being smart. But it can also free you. Because if intelligence alone was enough, you would already be where you want to be. So the next level may not require more intellect. It may require more courage, more regulation, more consistency, more humility, more ability to function under emotional pressure. Think about the moments that changed lives. The interview where nerves took over. The relationship where ego spoke first. The opportunity missed because fear delayed action. The room lost because insecurity became visible. The goal abandoned because feelings overruled discipline. These are not failures of intelligence. They are failures of emotional command. And the good news is this: what intellect did not solve, awareness can. What overthinking delayed, action can. What pride protected, humility can heal. What fear blocked, courage can move. You are not doomed because intelligence was not enough. You are simply being invited into a higher level of growth. A level where success belongs not only to those who know, but to those who can remain steady, useful, clear, and effective when life becomes uncomfortable. Because the smartest person in the room is not always the most respected, not always the most trusted, not always the most dangerous. Often it is the person who can stay composed while everyone else loses themselves. And once you understand that, you begin to see why intelligence failing is only the beginning of the problem. Because what ruins many capable people next is even more dangerous. They become ruled by reaction.
Chapter 2. The Cost of Emotional Reactivity. Many people believe their biggest problem is outside them: difficult people, bad timing, lack of opportunity, being misunderstood, not getting the recognition they deserve. And sometimes those things are real. But many lives are damaged less by circumstance and more by reaction. Not what happened, but how they responded when it happened. This is one of the quietest ways capable people sabotage themselves. They do not lose in dramatic moments alone. They lose in seconds. 5 seconds of anger, 10 seconds of insecurity, one emotional message sent too fast, one conversation handled from pride, one impulsive decision made while wounded. Then months, sometimes years, pay the price. Because emotions are powerful, but they are temporary. And temporary feelings often create permanent consequences when left unchecked. A person feels insulted and destroys trust, feels rejected and begs where dignity should have walked away, feels ignored and creates conflict where patience was needed, feels anxious and abandons opportunities too early, feels lonely and returns to what once broke them, feels jealous and competes where growth was required, The emotion passes, but the consequences remain. This is why emotional reactivity is expensive. It turns moments into damage. Many people think reaction only means shouting, but reactivity wears elegant disguises. Over-explaining is reaction, trying desperately to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Defensiveness is reaction, treating every correction like an attack. People-pleasing is reaction, saying yes because someone else's discomfort feels unbearable. Passive aggression is reaction, punishing indirectly because honesty feels risky. Oversharing is reaction, speaking from loneliness, then regretting exposure later. Proving yourself constantly is reaction, trying to win approval from people who never planned to give it. Even silence can be reaction, when it is used not for peace, but for punishment. Many people are reactive without realizing it, because if behavior feels normal long enough, it stops feeling destructive. But normal is not always healthy, and familiar is not always wise. Some people grew up in emotional chaos, so chaos feels natural. Raised around shouting, they shout. Raised around guilt, they guilt others. Raised around instability, they create instability. Raised around emotional unpredictability, they repeat it in relationships, and then wonder why peace feels boring. Because the nervous system often confuses familiar with safe. This is why healing requires more than intention. It requires retraining. There is also a deeper layer. Many reactions are not responses to the present, they are echoes from the past. A delayed reply may trigger abandonment wounds. Constructive criticism may trigger old humiliation. Disagreement may trigger childhood powerlessness. Distance may trigger fear of being forgotten. Disrespect may trigger years of swallowed resentment. So two people experience the same moment. One remains calm, the other collapses emotionally. Why? Because the event is current, but the pain attached to it may be ancient. Understanding this changes everything, because if you only judge your reactions, you stay trapped in shame. But if you study them, you gain keys. Ask yourself, why did that affect me so deeply? What story did I tell myself instantly? What fear woke up inside me? What wound did this touch? Awareness does not excuse behavior, but it explains it, and what is explained can be changed. Still, explanation alone is not mastery. Many people understand themselves and continue repeating themselves, because insight without discipline becomes entertainment. You can know exactly why you react and still keep reacting. Growth begins when awareness meets interruption. Between trigger and response, there is a space, small, brief, easily missed. But that space is where powerful people live. The space to breathe, the space to question assumptions, the space to delay the message, the space to lower your voice, the space to leave the room, the space to ask, will this matter tomorrow? Will this response help my future? Will I respect myself after this? That space has saved marriages, careers, friendships, reputations, and futures. Many disasters are only one unpaused minute long, one insult spoken in anger, one truth revealed carelessly, one bridge burned for ego, one threat made to feel powerful, one desperate paragraph sent at midnight, one public reaction that private discipline could have prevented. Reaction loves urgency. It says, reply now, prove yourself now, defend yourself now, punish them now,
Fix the discomfort now. Wisdom speaks differently. Wait, think, breathe, choose. Let emotions settle before you let it decide. This is difficult because reaction gives instant relief. You feel anger, you release it. You feel insecurity, you seek reassurance. You feel pain, you attack. You feel fear, you run. And for a moment, it feels better. But relief is not the same as resolution. Many people spend years chasing relief, then wonder why nothing heals. Real strength often feels uncomfortable in the beginning, holding silence when ego wants noise, walking away when loneliness wants attachment, staying calm when anger wants theater, listening when pride wants interruption, waiting when anxiety wants immediate certainty. This discomfort is the price of maturity, and it is cheaper than regret. There is another hidden cost of reactivity. It trains others how to handle you. If people know you explode easily, they will provoke carefully. If they know guilt controls you, they will use guilt freely. If silence unsettles you, they will withdraw strategically. If praise manipulates you, they will flatter when needed. Every unmanaged trigger becomes a visible handle, and some people will grab it. But when you become steady, when insults do not bait you, when delay does not break you, when criticism does not shatter you, when disagreement does not erase your identity, those handles begin to disappear. Manipulators lose leverage. Petty people lose entertainment. Chaos loses access. Your peace becomes harder to steal, and people feel it. There is something intimidating about a person who cannot be easily moved. Not cold, not arrogant, just internally anchored. That kind of person changes room dynamics without trying, because emotional steadiness communicates hidden status. It says, I do not belong to every mood. I do not need to react to exist. I do not need to prove myself to remain valuable. I do not need to lose myself because something happened. That presence earns respect words cannot request. So what do emotionally intelligent people actually do? They feel fully, but act carefully. They acknowledge anger without becoming violent, acknowledge hurt without becoming desperate, acknowledge fear without becoming frozen, acknowledge disappointment without becoming destructive. They let feelings visit, but not govern. This is the difference between emotional suppression and emotional mastery. Suppression says, I feel nothing. Mastery says, I feel it all and still choose wisely. That choice must be practiced daily, in traffic, in delays, in misunderstandings, in rejection, in boredom, in family tension, in moments nobody applauds. Because composure is not built in grand moments, it is built in ordinary friction. One pause at a time, one disciplined silence at a time, one wise decision at a time, one reaction refused at a time, and eventually, the person who once reacted to everything becomes someone difficult to shake. But even then, another trap remains.
Because some people stop reacting outwardly, yet remain weak inwardly. They look calm, but still depend on others for worth, still need replies for peace, still need praise for confidence, still need attention to feel alive. And that trap can be even more dangerous, because reacting is only half the problem. Dependence is worse. Chapter 3. Emotional dependence is silent weakness. There is a form of weakness many people never notice, because it does not always look dramatic. It can look attractive, loyal, caring, romantic, social, deeply connected.
But underneath, it often hides something fragile: dependence. The habit of needing something outside yourself to feel okay inside. Needing replies to feel secure. Needing praise to feel valuable. Needing attention to feel alive. Needing agreement to feel intelligent. Needing presence to feel complete. Needing constant reassurance to feel calm. And when those things are present, life feels manageable. But when they disappear, peace disappears with them. That is the danger. Your emotional state becomes rented property, owned by whoever gives or withholds what you rely on. A delayed text changes your mood. Someone becoming distant changes your confidence. A lack of compliments changes how attractive you feel. Disagreement makes you question your worth. Silence feels like rejection. Being left out feels like identity loss. This is exhausting because your inner world becomes controlled by unstable external things. And external things are never stable for long. People get busy, moods change, priorities shift, life interrupts. Not everyone can always respond, reassure, praise, or prioritize you. So if your peace depends on constant emotional supply, life will feel like repeated abandonment. Many people call this love. Sometimes it is hunger. They say, "I just care deeply." Sometimes they mean, "I cannot regulate myself when connection feels uncertain." They say, "I miss them so much." Sometimes they mean, "I built my identity around their presence." They say, "I need closure." Sometimes they mean, "I need someone else to restore what only self-respect can rebuild." This chapter is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming whole. Because connection is beautiful. But connection built on dependence becomes fear. You fear distance, fear conflict, fear honesty, fear boundaries, fear being forgotten, fear being replaced, fear being alone with yourself. And fear changes behavior. It makes people chase what should be chosen freely, beg where they should pause, overgive where they should observe, stay where they should leave, tolerate what should offend them, perform to keep affection, shrink to avoid loss. This is how emotional dependence quietly steals dignity. Many people do not notice it because society romanticizes neediness. Songs celebrate obsession. Movies praise inability to let go. Drama gets called passion. Attachment gets called love. Chaos gets mistaken for chemistry. But love should not require the collapse of self. If losing someone means losing yourself, the problem was never only loss, it was dependence. There is another hidden cost. Dependence makes you easy to manipulate. Anyone who learns what you need desperately learns where to control you. If you need replies, silence controls you. If you need praise, flattery controls you. If you need belonging, exclusion controls you. If you need to be chosen, withdrawal controls you. If you need to be seen by everyone, public opinion controls you. This is why some people stay trapped in unhealthy dynamics for years. Not because they cannot see the problem, but because they are addicted to the emotional supply. Even pain becomes tolerable when it arrives from the source you depend on. That's dangerous, because dependence can make suffering feel necessary. You may know they disrespect you, yet one small moment of affection resets your standards. You may know the friendship drains you, yet one invitation makes you forget the pattern. You may know the environment is toxic,
yet occasional validation keeps you there. This is how crumbs become chains.
And many intelligent people remain imprisoned by tiny emotional rewards. There is a deeper reason dependence forms. Often, it begins where something was missing. A child rarely reassured may crave reassurance endlessly. A child only praised for achievement may chase validation constantly. A child abandoned emotionally may panic at distance later. A child unseen may become addicted to attention. A child raised around instability may confuse inconsistency with love. We do not always choose our early wounds, but we become responsible for healing them, because adulthood punishes unhealed dependency. You cannot build calm relationships while needing constant proof. You cannot lead confidently while depending on approval. You cannot think clearly while addicted to being liked. You cannot move powerfully while terrified of being alone. And many people delay growth because they fear the medicine: solitude, silence, uncertainty. The very experiences that expose dependence are often what heal it. When no one texts, can you remain steady? When no one praises, can you still value yourself? When plans fall through, can you still enjoy your day? When someone changes their mind, can you keep your identity? When attention leaves, can peace remain? These questions reveal freedom. Some people are surrounded by others and deeply dependent. Some are physically alone and emotionally strong. Being around people is not the same as being secure. Security is internal. It is the ability to say, I enjoy connection without needing it to survive. I appreciate praise without requiring it to feel worthy. I welcome love without abandoning myself for it. I value being chosen without begging to be selected. I can miss someone without losing my center. That kind of stability changes everything. You stop chasing unclear energy. You stop panicking at silence. You stop reading disaster into every delay. You stop making others responsible for emotions they did not create. You become easier to love because you are no longer asking others to carry your inner emptiness. And you become harder to manipulate because your buttons are fewer. But emotional independence does not mean isolation. It does not mean pretending not to care. It does not mean rejecting intimacy. It means bringing fullness into connection, not hunger. It means choosing people from strength, not desperation. It means loving freely, not clinging fearfully. There is a major difference between wanting someone and needing someone. Wanting says, I enjoy your presence. Needing says, I cannot function without it. Wanting creates warmth. Needing creates pressure. Wanting invites freedom. Needing invites control. When people feel responsible for your emotional survival, they often pull away. Not because you are unlovable, because the weight is too heavy. No one can sustainably carry another adult's identity. That responsibility belongs within. So, how do you begin healing dependence? Start small. Delay checking the phone. Sit with uncertainty without immediate reassurance. Spend time alone without distraction. Keep promises to yourself. Build routines nobody can take away. Create joy not dependent on invitation. Speak kindly to yourself when no one else does. Celebrate progress privately. Learn to soothe your own nervous system. Become the source of some of what you keep begging others to provide. This is how power returns. Quietly. One self-respecting act at a time. One boundary at a time. One calm evening alone at a time. One urge not obeyed at a time. One moment of choosing dignity over desperation at a time. Eventually, something shifts. You still value people, but no longer worship access to them. You still appreciate love, but no longer chase it at any price. You still enjoy attention, but your center remains yours. That is emotional freedom. And freedom feels different. You breathe easier, think clearer, choose better, leave faster if necessary, love cleaner, respect yourself more. Yet even free people can still fail, because independence without control is incomplete. You may no longer need others, but still ruin moments through impulse, still damage opportunities through fast reactions, still lose power because you could not pause. And that small space between emotion and action changes everything. And even free people fail if they cannot pause.
Chapter 4. The Power of the Pause. There is a small space that decides many lives. Most people never notice it, because it is brief, invisible, easy to miss. Yet inside that tiny moment lives the difference between regret and wisdom, between damage and dignity, between chaos and control. It is the pause, the space between what happens and what you choose next. Someone disrespects you. Pause. Someone ignores your message. Pause. Plans change suddenly. Pause. You feel misunderstood. Pause. An opportunity scares you. Pause. A painful memory rises. Pause. This seems simple, but simple things often separate average lives from powerful ones, because many people do not live by choice. They live by reaction. Life touches a trigger, and they respond automatically. No reflection, no distance, no control. Just pattern. Someone criticizes them. They defend instantly. Someone delays, they assume rejection. Someone succeeds, they compare immediately. Someone disappoints them, they punish emotionally. Something feels uncertain, they panic. This is not freedom. It is programming. The pause interrupts programming. It says, wait, what is actually happening? What am I feeling? What story am I creating? What response serves me best? That moment of interruption is where maturity begins. Many people believe strength means intensity, being louder, faster, sharper, winning instantly. But often, strength looks slower. It looks like restraint, like silence, like measured tone, like choosing not to give emotion to what does not deserve it. The pause is difficult because emotion hates delay.
Anger wants expression now. Fear wants certainty now. Insecurity wants reassurance now. Ego wants revenge now. Loneliness wants contact now. Impulses speak with urgency. Wisdom rarely does. Wisdom speaks quietly. Think first. Sleep on it. Let the feeling pass. Observe more. Say less. Choose carefully. This is why immature decisions often feel urgent, and mature decisions often feel patient. Some of the greatest regrets in life were born in moments without pause. The text sent too quickly. The truth spoken too harshly. The relationship ended in rage. The opportunity rejected from fear. The promise broken from mood. The bridge burned for pride. One unpaused minute can create years of consequences, and one paused minute can save them.
There are people who lost jobs because they could not pause, lost relationships because they could not pause, lost reputations because they could not pause, lost peace because they could not pause. Not from evil, not from stupidity, from speed. They let emotion drive faster than awareness. The pause slows the vehicle, and speed matters. Imagine driving through fog. Would you accelerate or slow down? Strong emotions are fog. They reduce clarity, distort distance, magnify threat, hide consequence. Yet many people accelerate hardest exactly when visibility is lowest. That is why pain multiplies. Emotionally intelligent people do something different. They recognize fog, then reduce speed. They know this feeling is real, but it may not be accurate. This urge is strong, but it may not be wise. This moment is intense, but it may not be important.
That understanding protects futures. The pause is powerful in conversation. Someone insults you. Most expect immediate reaction. When you remain calm, the room shifts. Someone provokes you. Most expect defense. When you stay measured, power shifts. Someone misunderstands you intentionally. Most expect explanation. When you refuse desperate proving, dignity remains. Many people lose authority trying to win every moment. The pause understands something deeper. Not every battle improves your life. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every accusation deserves energy. Not every invitation deserves attendance. Not every opinion deserves response. This saves enormous energy. There is also a private form of the pause with yourself. You feel like quitting. Pause. You feel like abandoning discipline. Pause. You feel like returning to what hurt you. Pause. You feel like spending from emotion. Pause. You feel like betraying your own standards. Pause. Because many people think enemies ruin progress. Often, impulses do. The pause gives your higher self time to arrive. Without it, the loudest feeling wins. With it, the wisest voice gets a chance. There is a question powerful people ask in the pause. What will I think about this tomorrow? That question kills many bad decisions. Will tomorrow's version of me be proud I sent this? Proud I said this? Proud I stayed. Proud I returned. Proud I reacted. If the answer is no, the pause has already saved you. Another question. Is this a real problem or a temporary emotion? Many arguments are temporary emotions wearing the costume of real problems. Many breakups are wounded pride pretending to be clarity. Many purchases are emptiness pretending to be reward. Many apologies demanded are ego pretending to be justice. The pause removes costumes. It lets truth breathe. There is also a biological reality. Emotion rises like a wave, then falls. No feeling sustains peak intensity forever. But many people act at the peak. They obey the highest point of the wave, then regret it when the water returns to normal. If they had waited 10 minutes, 1 hour, 1 night, a different choice may have emerged. This is why delay is underrated medicine. Not avoidance, intentional delay. Delay the response, delay the purchase, delay the confrontation. Delay the decision until clarity returns.
Time often solves what impulse would worsen.
Still, some people fear pausing because they think it looks weak. They think immediate reaction proves strength. But anyone can explode. Anyone can send paragraphs. Anyone can threaten departure. Anyone can become dramatic. That requires little mastery. Calm restraint requires far more. To feel heat and stay cool. To feel hurt and stay dignified. To feel anger and stay strategic. To feel fear and still act wisely. That is advanced strength. The pause also builds identity. Every time you choose it, you teach yourself, I am not my first feeling. I am not controlled by urgency. I can experience emotion without obeying it. I can trust myself under pressure. That self-trust compounds, and eventually people notice something different about you. You seem steadier, harder to bait, harder to rush, harder to manipulate, more deliberate, more grounded. Because when others are pushed by every force, you remain anchored. But the pause is not passive. Sometimes after the pause, you speak firmly.
Sometimes you leave immediately. Sometimes you enforce boundaries. Sometimes you confront clearly. Sometimes you act boldly. The pause does not remove action. It purifies action. It ensures behavior comes from choice, not chaos. This changes relationships. Instead of arguing to win, you communicate to solve. Instead of punishing with silence, you speak honestly. Instead of begging during fear, you observe patterns. Instead of chasing after distance, you let truth reveal itself. Instead of promising change emotionally, you build change consistently. The pause turns messy cycles into clean decisions. And in work, it matters just as much. A harsh email arrives. Pause. A deal feels urgent. Pause. A colleague provokes ego. Pause. An opportunity feels intimidating. Pause. Many careers rise or fall in emotional moments disguised as professional ones. The person who can think clearly under pressure gains invisible advantage. Yet there is one limitation. Self-control alone does not guarantee success. You may regulate yourself beautifully and still misread everyone else. You may stay calm, but fail to notice envy, discomfort, interest, hidden tension, manipulation, attraction, unspoken resistance. And in social life, blindness can cost as much as reactivity, because many battles are decided before words begin, by energy, signals, timing, what was not said, what was felt, what shifted in the room. So while the pause gives you control over yourself, the next level requires awareness of others. But self-control means nothing if you can't read people.
Chapter 5. Read the room before it reads you. Many people lose rooms before they ever speak, not because they are unqualified, not because they are unintelligent, not because they lack value. They lose because they fail to notice what is already happening. The tension in the air, the insecurity behind a smile, the boredom behind polite nodding, the envy hidden inside compliments, the discomfort behind silence, the resistance beneath agreement. They hear words but miss energy, and life is often decided by energy before language. This is why some people keep saying, "I don't understand what happened. The meeting felt cold. The date felt strange. The friendship changed. The opportunity disappeared. The room became distant, yet nobody said anything obvious. Exactly, because the most important communication is often unspoken. Emotionally intelligent people understand this. They know rooms are always speaking, even when mouths are closed. The room tells you who feels threatened, who feels relaxed, who wants attention, who is withholding trust, who feels curious, who feels defensive, who is pretending confidence, who is quietly observing. And the person who can sense this gains invisible leverage, because awareness arrives before surprise. Most people walk into rooms focused on one question: how do I look? Do they like me? What should I say? How can I impress them? That self-focus creates blindness. You become so occupied managing your image that you stop reading reality. Powerful people reverse the lens. They enter asking, what is the mood here? Who holds influence? Where is the tension? Who is performing? Who is uncomfortable? What is missing? What is expected? Who needs space? Who wants validation? What is not being said? This shift changes everything, because social intelligence is not performing well, it is perceiving accurately. Some people speak beautifully, yet cannot sense discomfort. Some people dress sharply, yet cannot detect jealousy. Some people have confidence, yet miss resentment growing around them. And because they miss signals, they make avoidable mistakes. They joke in serious moments, push where patience was needed, overshare where caution was wise, trust where observation should have come first, compete where collaboration was expected. Read the room badly, and even talent can feel awkward. There are several signals rooms constantly give. First, energy shifts. Notice when warmth suddenly cools. Notice when enthusiasm drops. Notice when conversation changes after someone enters. Notice when laughter feels forced. Notice when people become careful with words. Something has changed. Emotion usually changes before explanation arrives. Second, body language. A person may say yes while leaning away, say they are fine while jaw tension speaks otherwise, claim confidence while restless hands reveal anxiety. Words matter, but bodies often tell the truth first. Third, silence. Many fear silence, but silence is rich information. Is it comfortable silence? Tense silence? Resentful silence? Reflective silence? Dismissive silence? Attention-filled silence? Silence after your statement can reveal more than applause. Fourth, patterns. Who interrupts whom? Who seeks whose approval? Who dominates? Who withdraws? Who performs for status? Who becomes smaller around certain people? Who changes personality depending on audience? Patterns reveal hierarchies words try to hide. This matters because rooms have invisible structures. Influence is not always held by the loudest person. Sometimes the quietest person carries trust. Sometimes the smiling person carries resentment. Sometimes the leader title belongs to one person, but emotional gravity belongs to another. Those who sense gravity move wisely. Those who ignore it stumble. Reading the room also protects you from manipulation. Some people use charm to lower your guard. Others use confusion to gain control. Some use urgency to rush decisions. Others use flattery to weaken boundaries. If you only hear words, you may miss intent. But if you watch congruence, does tone match message? Does behavior match promises? Does energy match kindness? Do actions match image? Then deception becomes easier to detect. Another critical skill is reading yourself in the room. How do people respond when you speak? Do they lean in, withdraw, interrupt, relax, become guarded, seek more, change topic quickly? These reactions are feedback, not always truth, but data. Some people never improve socially because they ignore feedback the room gives constantly. They keep repeating behaviors that quietly lower respect, talking too long, needing to be right, forcing humor, seeking validation, ignoring cues to stop, dominating insecurely, oversharing too early. Reading the room means adjusting without losing yourself. It means awareness with dignity, not shape-shifting for approval. There is a difference. Weakness says, become whatever they like. Wisdom says, understand the environment, then choose wisely within it. You do not betray yourself by noticing reality. You strengthen yourself. For example, if a room is tense, you may choose calmness. If a room is grieving, you choose softness. If a room is competitive, you choose precision. If a room is chaotic, you choose steadiness. If a room is shallow, you choose restraint. This is adaptive intelligence. The same water that crashes into stone also flows around it. Many people suffer because they use one personality everywhere. Too serious in playful spaces, too playful in serious spaces, too open in unsafe spaces, too guarded in warm spaces, too loud in thoughtful spaces, too passive in predatory spaces. They mistake consistency for wisdom, but maturity knows context matters. Still, do not become obsessed with reading others while abandoning yourself. Some people overanalyze every glance, every pause, every message delay, every facial expression. That's anxiety, not intelligence. Reading the room is not paranoia, it's grounded awareness. You observe patterns, not invent stories. You notice signals, not worship them. You stay present, not trapped in speculation. There's another deeper layer. Reading the room often means reading pain. The angry person may feel powerless. The arrogant person may feel inferior. The attention seeker may feel unseen. The controlling person may feel unsafe. The mocker may feel threatened. The distant person may feel wounded. That understanding can save you from taking everything personally. Many behaviors are not about you. They are symptoms wearing your name. That insight protects peace, but it doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. Compassion and boundaries can coexist. You can understand someone and still limit access. You can see their wound and still refuse their chaos. That's mature perception. One of the greatest social mistakes is speaking before observing. Many enter spaces trying to be impressive immediately, but people who carry quiet power often watch first. They let the room reveal itself. They learn names, notice dynamics, feel timing. Then when they speak, it lands. Because timing multiplies value. A mediocre statement at the right moment can outperform brilliance at the wrong one. This is why some people seem naturally charismatic. Often they are not magical, they are observant. They sense when to joke,
When to challenge, when to comfort, when to stay silent, when to lead,
when to disappear. That rhythm creates presence, and presence creates influence. Still, awareness alone has limits. You may read every signal perfectly, know exactly who is insecure, who envies you, who trusts you, who wants attention, who fears your growth, and yet still fail to earn respect, because perception without inner steadiness can feel clever but weak. People may admire insight, but they follow composure. They trust groundedness. They respect those who remain centered under pressure. So, once you can read the room, the next level is becoming the calmest force inside it. Yet awareness alone won't earn respect.
Chapter 6. Calmness is status. Many people misunderstand power. They think power is loud, dominant, aggressive, constantly speaking, constantly proving, constantly being seen. But in many rooms, the person with the most visible energy is often the one with the least internal control. Noise can impress the insecure, but calmness commands something deeper: respect. There is a reason certain people walk into pressure and immediately feel different. They are not rushing, not over-explaining, not trying to win everyone, not emotionally leaking into the room. They carry steadiness, and steadiness feels expensive because it is rare. Most people are easily moved. A delayed message changes their mood. A rude comment changes their energy. A disagreement changes their identity. A small setback ruins their day. They are available to every disturbance, but calm people are selective. Not cold, not detached from life, just anchored. They feel emotion without becoming possessed by it. That creates presence, and presence is often mistaken for status, because the human mind trusts stability. Think about who people naturally turn toward in chaos. Not always the smartest person, not always the loudest, usually the steadiest. The one whose breathing remains even, whose voice remains measured, whose thinking remains clear, whose body language says, "There is difficulty here, but not danger inside me." That energy regulates others. Children look for it in parents. Teams look for it in leaders. Partners look for it in relationships. Rooms look for it unconsciously. Calmness becomes social gravity. People begin to orient around it. This is why some individuals say little, yet hold influence. Their nervous system communicates safety, and safety is persuasive. Many people do not realize how much emotional states are contagious. One anxious person can spread tension. One reactive person can infect a group. One bitter person can poison momentum. But one calm person can soften panic, lower conflict, create space for reason, recenter everyone else. That is real status. The ability to affect the emotional temperature of a room without forcing anything. Some confuse calmness with passivity. That is a mistake. Passivity avoids necessary action. Calmness improves necessary action. Passive people stay silent from fear. Calm people stay silent from discernment. Passive people tolerate disrespect from weakness. Calm people respond strategically. Passive people suppress truth. Calm people deliver truth cleanly. Passive people freeze. Calm people choose timing. Externally, they may look similar. Internally, they are worlds apart. This is why many reactive people underestimate composed people. They mistake restraint for inability until the calm person acts decisively. Then they realized silence was never weakness, it was control. There is also a hidden luxury in calmness. It protects energy. Imagine how much life people waste on emotional turbulence, replaying comments, arguing mentally, checking phones obsessively, explaining themselves endlessly, defending every perception, fighting every battle, taking everything personally.
This drains creative power, focus, health, peace. Calm people conserve resources. They do not donate attention to every disturbance. They ask, does this deserve my energy? Will this matter next week? Is response useful or just emotional? That filter changes outcomes. Many people are tired not because life is impossible, but because they respond to everything. Calmness is selective engagement. It knows not all fires are yours to fight. There is another reason calmness feels powerful. It signals self-trust. When someone panics quickly, it often suggests they do not trust themselves to handle uncertainty. When someone overreacts, it often reveals fragility beneath the surface. When someone must constantly prove confidence, insecurity usually stands nearby. But when someone remains composed under pressure, the mind of others assumes this person has been through difficulty before. This person can handle discomfort. This person is not new to challenge. This person trusts their own capacity. Whether always true or not, perception matters. Calmness often reads as competence. That is why in interviews, negotiations, relationships, leadership, composure creates advantage, not because it is flashy, because it lowers doubt. People feel safer choosing stable energy. Still, calmness is not something you perform. Forced calmness can look stiff, cold, disconnected. Real calmness comes from internal work, from learning to regulate thought, body, emotion, meaning. It comes from repeated evidence that you can survive discomfort. You survive rejection and remain whole. You survive delay and remain patient. You survive criticism and remain clear. You survive loneliness and remain valuable. You survive uncertainty and remain functional. Each survival teaches the nervous system we are okay, and from that memory, calmness grows naturally. Many people chase confidence, but calmness is often more valuable. Confidence says, I believe I can win. Calmness says, even if I don't, I will remain myself. Confidence can rise and fall with outcomes. Calmness can remain through outcomes. That is why calmness ages better. There is also power in calm communication. When others become heated and you stay measured, your words gain weight. When others rush and you slow down, your timing gains authority. When others explain endlessly and you stay concise, your silence adds value to speech. The same sentence delivered from panic lands differently from composure. Energy edits language. This is why some people say simple things and everyone listens. Their nervous system carries credibility. They seem settled, and settled people often sound wise, even before wisdom is tested. But calmness does not mean feeling nothing. Important distinction. You may feel angry, yet choose precision. You may feel hurt, yet choose dignity. You may feel afraid, yet choose steadiness. You may feel pressure, yet choose order. Calmness is not absence of emotion. It is emotional leadership. Your feelings exist, but they do not overthrow the government. Many lives improve the moment people stop obeying every feeling as truth. Some feelings are signals, some are stress, some are old wounds, some are temporary chemistry, some are lies wearing urgency. Calmness lets you evaluate before obeying. That evaluation prevents costly mistakes. Another hidden benefit: calm people are harder to manipulate. Urgency tactics fail more often. Provocation loses power. Guilt has less access. Drama finds less oxygen, because manipulation often depends on stealing your state. If your state is well guarded, many games become ineffective. This is why chaotic people sometimes dislike calm people. They can't easily pull them into familiar patterns. No reaction, no chase, no explosion, no confusion. The calm person refuses the script, and refusal can frustrate those who depend on emotional chaos. Still, calmness must be paired with strength. Without boundaries, calmness can become tolerated exploitation. Without standards, calmness can become endless patience with nonsense. Without action, calmness can become decorative. Real calmness knows when to move, when to leave, when to say no, when to confront, when to end, and it does so without unnecessary noise. That combination is rare. Peaceful but not weak, kind but not naive, measured but not passive, steady but not stagnant. This is status, not the kind bought with labels, but the kind felt before names are known. People sense when someone belongs to themselves, and they respond to it. So if you want more influence, don't only ask how to be more impressive, ask how to become less disturbable, how to become slower to anger, quicker to recover, harder to provoke, less dependent on external weather, because a person ruled by every breeze cannot lead storms. Yet one more truth remains. Calmness can build respect, but careless words can destroy it quickly. Years of composure can be weakened by one loose tongue, one unnecessary explanation, one emotional outburst, one desperate attempt to be understood, one sentence spoken without discipline, because status is not only how you feel, it is also how you communicate, and many people lose power not through chaos, but through too many words. But status can be destroyed by careless words.
Chapter 7. Speak less, mean more. Many people talk too much when they feel weak, not always in volume, sometimes in explanation, in justification, in proving, in nervous humor, in endless updates, in words used not to communicate, but to manage insecurity. This is why speech can reveal far more than people intend. A person may sound confident, yet be begging for approval between sentences. A person may sound intelligent, yet be hiding fear behind complexity. A person may sound social, yet be terrified of silence. Words often expose the emotional state that produced them. And once you understand this, communication changes, because powerful people do not only choose what to say, they choose what not to say. They understand a truth many ignore. Every unnecessary word can reduce the weight of necessary ones. When everything is said, nothing feels valuable. When every thought is spoken, nothing feels filtered. When every emotion becomes language, nothing feels led. Some people narrate their insecurity in real time. They over-explain simple choices, apologize for existing, defend themselves before being accused, repeat points no one challenged, overshare with people who have not earned intimacy, speak quickly to fill pauses, laugh to soften their own presence, and then wonder why they feel unseen. Because communication is not only content, it is signal, and signals shape respect. Speech can communicate certainty or neediness, discipline or chaos, presence or hunger. This is why two people can say similar things and receive different reactions. One sounds grounded, the other sounds desperate. One sounds clear, the other sounds like they need agreement. One sounds concise, the other sounds like they fear being misunderstood. Energy edits language. This is why precision matters. Precision is emotional maturity expressed through speech. It means saying enough, not everything. Clear, not crowded. Honest, not performative. Direct, not dramatic. Measured, not impulsive. Many people think strong communication means saying more. Often it means removing more. Removing defensiveness, removing excess detail, removing emotional leakage, removing words spoken only to calm your own anxiety. For example, instead of 10 minutes explaining why you were late, say, "I was delayed. Thank you for waiting." Instead of paragraphs after someone withdraws, say nothing.
and observe patterns. Instead of trying to win every disagreement, say, "I see it differently." Instead of defending yourself to gossip, say less, live better. Instead of filling silence nervously, let silence stand. Precision protects dignity. There is a reason silence unsettles insecure people, because silence cannot be easily controlled. When someone expects panic and receives stillness, they feel the shift. When someone expects over-explaining and receives clarity, they feel the shift. When someone expects emotional paragraphs and receives restraint, they feel the shift. Silence often communicates self-respect faster than speeches do. But silence must be intelligent. Some people use silence as punishment, as manipulation, as avoidance, as emotional laziness. That is not strength. That is immaturity wearing elegance. Healthy silence is different. It is the refusal to waste words where words have no value. It is choosing timing. It is allowing emotion to settle before language enters. It is knowing some people do not need explanation, they need consequence. And some situations do not need debate, they need decision. Many lives become lighter when people stop trying to be understood by everyone. Not everyone is confused. Some are committed to misunderstanding you. If you spend enough time with people like that, you begin performing explanations instead of living truth. That is draining. There is another reason to speak less. You learn more. People reveal themselves in space. When you rush to fill every silence, you interrupt truth. When you talk constantly, you gather less information. When you overstate yourself, others understate their intentions. But when you become comfortable with pauses, people continue speaking. Patterns emerge, motives leak, contradictions surface. What was hidden often arrives voluntarily. Stillness is a social advantage. The person who can tolerate silence often controls pace, and pace matters. Fast speech can come from excitement, but often from anxiety. Trying to get everything out, trying to secure approval quickly, trying to outrun discomfort. Slow, measured speech often signals composure, not artificial slowness, but intentional rhythm. A person who trusts their value rarely rushes to prove it. This is why some voices feel authoritative. They are not merely deep or loud, they are settled. Each sentence sounds chosen. That creates gravity. Another mistake many make is speaking from the peak of emotion. Angry speech, fearful speech, lonely speech, jealous speech, wounded speech. These forms of speech often create regret because intense feelings shrink perspective. You say what feels relieving, not what is wise. Then, when emotion leaves, consequences remain. This is why timing can be more important than wording. The right sentence at the wrong emotional state becomes the wrong sentence. Wait. Let the storm pass. Then speak from clarity. Some people fear this because they think restraint means weakness. No, restraint is expensive. Anyone can send the angry message. Anyone can expose secrets while hurt. Anyone can rant publicly. Anyone can argue online for hours. Anyone can speak carelessly. Few can feel strongly and speak cleanly. That is mastery. Speak less also means stop narrating your goals too early. Many people leak momentum through premature talking. They announce discipline before discipline exists, announce plans before action begins, announce growth before habits form. The attention from speaking can replace the satisfaction of doing. Then progress dies in applause. Protect unfinished work. Let results introduce you later. There is also status in brevity. When someone asks unnecessary questions about your choices, you do not owe essays. When someone seeks drama,
you do not owe paragraphs. When someone tries to bait reaction, you do not owe performance. A short, clear response can carry more power than emotional novels. No, that doesn't work for me. I'm unavailable. I understand. I've decided. These sentences are light to say, heavy to hear, because boundaries spoken clearly often sound louder than arguments. Still, speaking less does not mean becoming mute. It means when you do speak, it matters. Encourage deeply, apologize sincerely, express standards clearly, ask thoughtful questions, state truth cleanly, share warmth intentionally, use language as craft, not leakage. The goal is not fewer words for image, it is higher quality words from alignment. When your mind is less chaotic, speech becomes cleaner. When your self-worth rises, proving decreases. When your emotions mature, drama declines. When your clarity deepens, simplicity increases. Communication often mirrors consciousness. Listen to how someone speaks, and you hear how they live. Yet even people who speak beautifully can remain vulnerable. They know how to sound wise, how to appear composed, how to phrase boundaries elegantly, and still get trapped. Because manipulation does not always attack language. Sometimes it attacks guilt, loneliness, empathy, the need to be seen as good. So while precise speech creates strength, it is not full protection. Still, some people speak perfectly and get manipulated anyway.
Chapter 8. Become difficult to manipulate. Many people think manipulation only looks obvious. A liar with bad intentions, a cruel person controlling someone openly, a villain everyone can identify. But real manipulation is often quieter, smarter, more emotional. It can arrive smiling, helpful, charming, wounded, confused, needy, even loving. That is why so many intelligent people fall for it. They are looking for danger in the wrong costume. Manipulation is not always force. Often it is influence gained through your unhealed weaknesses, your guilt, your loneliness, your fear of conflict, your need to be liked, your desire to rescue, your discomfort with disappointment, your inability to say no. Wherever self-mastery is weak, leverage can enter. This is why two people can meet the same manipulator. One becomes trapped, the other remains untouched. The difference is not always intelligence, it is inner structure. Some people can be convinced against their own interest because they cannot tolerate being disliked. Some stay in draining relationships because guilt controls them. Some keep saying yes because tension feels unbearable. Some hand over trust because flattery feels like love. Some ignore obvious red flags because loneliness feels louder than truth. Manipulation succeeds where need outweighs clarity. That sentence alone can change lives, need outweighing clarity. You know the pattern is unhealthy, but you need connection. You know the request is unfair, but you need approval. You know the person is inconsistent, but you need hope. You know the boundary is necessary, but you need to be seen as kind. So you betray yourself softly, again and again. Many people imagine manipulation happens to the weak-minded. Often it happens to the good-hearted, the empathic, the generous, the patient, the forgiving, the ones taught to be nice before they were taught to be discerning. Without boundaries, goodness becomes exploitable. Kindness without standards becomes access. Compassion without discernment becomes vulnerability. Patience without limits becomes permission. This is why becoming difficult to manipulate does not require becoming cold, it requires becoming clear, clear about your values, clear about your limits, clear about patterns, clear about what love is not, clear about what you owe, clear about what discomfort you are willing to tolerate. Manipulators often use predictable tools: guilt, if you cared, you would; urgency, I need an answer right now; confusion, that never happened; victimhood, everyone always hurts me; flattery, you're the only one who understands me; withdrawal, silence used as punishment; chaos, keeping you too emotionally busy to think clearly. These tools work best when you respond automatically. Guilt makes you explain, urgency makes you rush, confusion makes you doubt yourself, victimhood makes you rescue, flattery lowers your guard, withdrawal makes you chase, chaos exhausts your judgment. But once you recognize patterns, magic disappears. The trick is no longer mysterious. You begin to see that many manipulative behaviors depend on emotional reflex, and reflex can be retrained. Someone uses guilt, pause. Someone pressures timing, pause. Someone rewrites history, pause. Someone showers praise too early, pause. Someone withdraws to provoke panic, pause. Awareness plus pause is protection. There is another crucial truth. Manipulation often requires your participation, not blame, participation. If someone repeatedly crosses boundaries and you repeatedly erase consequences, you are helping the cycle continue. If someone lies often and you keep rewarding apologies without change, you are feeding the pattern. If someone only respects strength and you only offer softness, you are misreading reality. This is not to shame you, it is to return power to you, because what you participate in, you can stop participating in. One of the strongest phrases in adult life is, "That does not work for me." Simple, clean, no speech required, no courtroom defense, no novel of justification.
Manipulators often rely on your need to over-explain. When you explain too much, they gain material to twist. When you defend too much, they smell uncertainty. When you apologize too fast, they learn pressure works. Clear boundaries with low drama are difficult to attack. Another powerful skill is tolerating being misunderstood. Many people stay trapped because they need everyone to agree with their decisions. If you leave, they may call you selfish. If you say no, they may call you cold. If you stop rescuing, they may call you changed. If you choose yourself, they may say you became arrogant. And if your self-worth depends on being seen as good, you may return to chains for reputation. Freedom often requires surviving false narratives. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Some benefited from your lack of them. There is also the manipulation of your own mind. Sometimes no one is controlling you externally, yet internal habits do the same work. Guilt scripts, fear scripts, scarcity scripts. If I lose them, I'll lose everything. If I disappoint them, I'm bad. If I say no, no one will love me. If I'm alone, I am nothing. These beliefs make control easy because they turn ordinary discomfort into emotional emergencies. Challenge them. Being alone is not destruction. Disappointing someone is not cruelty. Saying no is not violence. Losing unhealthy access is not losing life. Many people need cognitive boundaries before relational ones. There is another hidden defense: slow trust. Some people give trust faster than others give consistency. They believe chemistry means character. Attention means intention. Words mean integrity. Potential means future reality. No. Trust should grow at the speed of evidence, consistency, accountability, respect. Patterns over promises. Time reveals what charm can hide. Fast attachment often creates slow suffering. Take your time. Observe reactions to limits. Notice how someone handles no. Watch how they speak about others. See whether apologies become change. Measure reliability under inconvenience. Reality appears when life stops being easy. Another elite protection is emotional sobriety. Do not make major relational decisions while lonely. Do not make financial decisions while desperate. Do not make commitment decisions while infatuated. Do not make revenge decisions while angry. States distort standards. Wait until you are clear, then choose. Some people ask, how do I know if I'm being manipulated? Look for recurring confusion. You feel drained after interactions. You keep explaining basic realities. Your boundaries create dramatic backlash. You feel guilty for normal needs. You are always adjusting, they rarely are. You question yourself more around them than away from them. Your peace keeps shrinking to preserve the connection. These are signals. Believe patterns over isolated moments. Still, not everyone who hurts you is manipulative. Some are immature, some unaware, some wounded. Discernment matters. The goal is not paranoia, it is precision. You can be compassionate without surrendering discernment. You can give grace once, twice perhaps, but repeated patterns deserve clearer action. And when action is needed, leave cleanly. Not theatrically, not with 10 speeches, not with revenge, not with dramatic exits designed to be chaste. Clean exits protect dignity. A calm no can end years of chaos. An unanswered bait can starve a game. A boundary maintained can expose truth quickly. Once people realize your guilt is no longer available, many behaviors stop. Once they realize urgency no longer rushes you, pressure weakens. Once they realize silence no longer panics you, withdrawal loses power. Once they realize praise no longer blinds you, flattery fades. Your healed areas become locked doors. And life changes when more doors are locked. You become lighter, clearer, safer to yourself, stronger in love, stronger in work, stronger in friendship, because energy once spent surviving games becomes available for growth. But there is a strength even rarer than boundaries, a level where you no longer need to fight every battle, no longer cling to every outcome, no longer collapse when life changes shape. That strength is deeper than protection. It is freedom through stable detachment. But the rarest strength is deeper than boundaries.
Chapter 9. Detachment without coldness. Many people misunderstand detachment. They imagine someone distant, emotionless, uncaring, cold-eyed, unavailable. A person who feels nothing, needs nothing, and lets no one close. But that is not detachment. That is often defense, sometimes trauma, sometimes fear disguised as strength. Real detachment is something far more powerful. It is the ability to care deeply without collapsing deeply, to love without losing yourself, to try without worshipping outcomes, to feel pain without becoming pain, to hold people close without chaining your identity to their behavior. Detachment is not absence of heart, it is the presence of center. Many people suffer because they attach themselves to everything. They attach worth to praise, mood to messages, peace to outcomes, identity to relationships, confidence to attention, hope to specific people, meaning to success arriving on schedule. Then, when any of those things shift, they shift with them. Praise disappears, self-worth drops,
Messages slow, anxiety rises. Plans fail, identity cracks. Someone leaves, life feels over. Money changes, peace vanishes. This is exhausting, because life changes constantly, and if your inner stability depends on unstable things, you will live in repeated emotional earthquakes. Detachment changes this. It says, I can value something without becoming owned by it. I can desire something without becoming desperate for it. I can grieve loss without believing I am lost. I can love you without abandoning me. I can pursue success without treating delay as death. This is freedom many people never experience, because they confuse intensity with love, possession with commitment, obsession with passion, neediness with devotion, control with care. But intensity can be unstable. Detachment creates cleaner love. You choose someone rather than cling to someone. You appreciate someone rather than consume someone. You support someone rather than demand they regulate your emotions. You stay honest because fear is no longer steering attachment. Many relationships break not from lack of love, but from excessive attachment. One person becomes the source of identity, so boundaries feel threatening, distance feels catastrophic, independent joy feels suspicious, normal delays feel like betrayal. The relationship becomes less about connection, more about emotional survival. That pressure suffocates love. Detachment removes pressure. It allows space, trust, individuality, breathing room, and, paradoxically, healthier closeness. There is also detachment from outcomes. Many people cannot work peacefully because they worship results. Every delay feels like failure. Every rejection feels personal. Every slow season feels proof they are behind. Every obstacle feels like humiliation. So they burn out emotionally before progress matures. Detached effort says, I will give my best, but I will not collapse because timing is slower than ego wanted. This mindset builds resilience. You stop quitting just because applause is late. You stop abandoning goals because growth is invisible. You keep building because process became home, not applause. Another vital form is detachment from opinion. Many people live rented lives. They wear what others approve, say what others reward, hide what others may judge, delay what others may criticize, stay where others expect, shrink because someone might misunderstand. That is emotional imprisonment. Detachment from opinion says, feedback can inform me, but it does not define me. People may dislike me, misread me, project onto me, prefer others, change their minds, and I remain intact. This does not mean arrogance, it means psychological ownership. You stop handing strangers authorship over your self-image. There is also detachment from temporary emotion. Some people believe every feeling instantly. I feel like a failure, therefore I am. I feel unwanted, therefore I am unloved. I feel behind, therefore life is ruined. I feel anxious, therefore danger is near. No, feelings are experiences, not always verdicts. Detachment allows space between feeling and identity. You can say, I feel insecure today, without becoming an insecure person. I feel sadness, without declaring life hopeless. I feel fear, without calling yourself incapable. This single distinction saves minds. Detachment is not denial. You still feel fully. You simply stop merging with each passing state. There is another reason detachment is rare. It often requires grieving illusions. The illusion that one person would save you,
the illusion that one opportunity defined you, the illusion that everyone would understand you, the illusion that life would unfold on your preferred schedule, the illusion that control was ever complete.
Letting go of illusions can hurt, but clinging to illusions hurts longer. Detached people accept reality sooner, and reality accepted becomes workable. Reality resisted becomes suffering. Some fear detachment because they think it kills ambition. The opposite is often true. Attachment creates panic. Panic creates inconsistency. Detachment creates steadiness. Steadiness creates longevity. When you are no longer emotionally shattered by setbacks, you can continue longer than those fueled only by excitement. Consistency outlives intensity. Detachment is fuel efficiency for the soul. There is also a social advantage. Detached people are harder to manipulate. Threats lose force. Silent treatment weakens. Scarcity tactics fade. Approval games fail because leverage depends on your desperation. Reduce desperation, reduce control others have. If someone leaving destroys you, they own power. If someone disliking you controls you, they own power. If losing one chance ends your identity, chance owns power. Detachment reclaims ownership. Still, detachment must be balanced with warmth. Without warmth, it becomes avoidance. Without vulnerability, it becomes walls. Without compassion, it becomes superiority. Without courage, it becomes emotional hiding. Healthy detachment says, I care deeply and remain centered. I can love and still leave what harms me. I can commit and still survive change. I can open my heart and still protect my mind. This balance feels powerful because it is mature. Not many achieve it. Some are warm but unstable. Some are stable but closed. Rare people become both warm and steady. Those people feel safe, strong, attractive in a deeper sense, because people trust what is open without being needy, what is caring without being clingy, what is present without being controlling. How do you build detachment? Practice releasing small things, a delayed reply, a changed plan, an imperfect day. Notice the urge to grip, then soften. Practice multiple sources of meaning, not one person, not one goal, not one identity. Build a life with many roots. Practice self-return. When upset, come back to body, breath, routine, values, action. Do not wander endlessly in mental storms. Practice gratitude without possession. Appreciate what exists without demanding it never change. Everything borrowed from time should be loved gently. There is another sign detachment is growing. You stop forcing. You stop forcing conversations, forcing closure, forcing timing, forcing people to become who they are not, forcing life to move at panic speed. You begin participating strongly without trying to control everything. This creates peace, and peace creates better judgment. But there is still a final level beyond peace, a level where your presence itself changes dynamics, where you no longer seek respect loudly, yet receive it, where leadership happens without title, where influence happens without chasing, where silence carries authority, where steadiness becomes power others can feel. And then comes the final level. Chapter 10. Quiet Social Dominance. Many people chase power the wrong way. They try to look important, sound important, be noticed constantly, control every room, win every argument, have the last word, collect titles, collect followers, collect proof. But the people who need to display power most loudly often feel it least privately, because real power rarely begs to be seen. It is felt. Quiet social dominance is not aggression, not arrogance, not intimidation, not becoming the loudest person in the room. It is the ability to carry presence so steady, value so clear, and self-respect so grounded that people naturally adjust around you, without force, without performance, without noise. You have met people like this. They enter calmly. They do not scan desperately for approval. They do not interrupt to be included. They do not oversell themselves. They do not compete for oxygen. Yet attention moves toward them. Why? Because they seem owned by themselves, and people respond deeply to self-possession. Most people are externally guided. They rise when praised, shrink when criticized, speak when safe, hide when judged, glow when chosen. Their center is outsourced. But a person whose center is internal feels different immediately. They are not available for every emotional weather change. That stability reads as leadership. Quiet social dominance often begins with one trait: non-neediness. Not pretending not to care, not playing hard to get, real non-neediness. You enjoy connection, but do not beg for it. You appreciate respect, but do not perform for it. You welcome opportunity, but do not worship it. You value love, but do not abandon standards for it. This changes social energy instantly, because desperation repels, neediness pressures, approval hunger leaks through tone, timing, body language, over-effort. Even when hidden, people feel it. But when you need less, you become lighter, cleaner, more magnetic. There is another pillar: emotional consistency. Many people are pleasant only when life goes their way, confident only when admired, kind only when comfortable, disciplined only when motivated. That is conditional character. Quiet dominance requires steadiness across conditions. You remain respectful under stress, clear under pressure, measured during disagreement, warm without weakness, firm without drama. People begin trusting what remains stable. Trust becomes influence. Influence becomes power. Another pillar is selective speech. Dominant presence does not explain everything. It does not rush to fill silence. It does not argue every accusation. It does not narrate every achievement. It speaks when useful, and when it speaks, it lands. Many people weaken themselves through excessive communication, trying to be understood by everyone, trying to correct every false view, trying to impress every room, trying to win every debate. Quiet strength asks, what outcome matters here? If speech does not improve outcome, silence remains available. This creates gravity, because restraint suggests abundance. A person who knows their value does not market it every minute. Another pillar: boundaries without bitterness. Weak people often swing between extremes: too soft, then explosive; too available, then vanished; too tolerant, then resentful. Quiet dominance is cleaner. It says no early, leaves when necessary, corrects respectfully, withdraws access without revenge, maintains standards without speeches. This confuses chaotic people because they expect drama. Instead, they meet consequence, and consequence teaches faster than argument. There is also command of attention, not by demanding it, by directing it. In conversation, you listen fully, ask strong questions, notice details others miss, respond precisely.
People feel seen, and being seen creates connection faster than being impressed. Many chase charisma through talking, yet some of the most influential people are exceptional listeners because attention is currency. Give it well, and people remember you. Quiet social dominance also means not competing where no prize exists. Many exhaust themselves in invisible contests. Who is smarter? Who is richer? Who is admired more? Who posted better? Who was chosen? Who looked stronger? These contests consume life. The dominant person exits unnecessary games. They compete with craft, with discipline, with yesterday's self, with long-term standards. This creates progress while others burn energy performing status. There is another hidden trait: comfort with being disliked. As long as you need universal approval, you remain governable. You will dilute truth, delay boundaries, laugh at what insults you, stay where respect is absent, become smaller to remain acceptable. But when you can survive disapproval, something changes. Your spine returns. You can disappoint others without collapsing. You can choose right over liked. You can walk away from rooms that only value obedience. That freedom feels powerful because it is. Some ask, how do I become more respected socially? Often by needing respect less visibly. Chasing respect creates awkwardness. Embodying standards attracts it quietly. Respect grows around consistency, competence, calmness, fairness, boundaries, reliability, and visible self-respect. People watch how you treat yourself, then learn how to treat you. If you over-explain, they expect weakness. If you tolerate disrespect, they test more. If you betray your own standards, they trust you less. If you remain clear and composed, treatment rises. Another advanced layer is emotional containment, not suppression, containment. You feel anger, but do not spill it everywhere. Feel hurt, but do not weaponize it. Feel success, but do not become arrogant. Feel fear, but do not infect the room with panic. You hold your state responsibly. That maturity makes others feel safe around your power, and safe power becomes trusted power. Quiet social dominance is also humble, because insecurity brags, strength rarely needs to. You can know your worth without announcing it, know your skill without announcing it, know your standards without insulting others. This humility sharpens influence. People often resist ego, but respect grounded excellence. There will be moments you are tested, ignored intentionally, provoked subtly, undervalued publicly, excluded strategically, watched quietly. These moments reveal whether presence is real or costume. Do you panic, overreact, chase, explain, perform, or remain centered? Observe, respond only if useful, continue building. Tests often disappear when they stop producing entertainment. There is also a paradox. The more internally secure you become, the less interested you are in dominating anyone. You no longer need to crush others to feel tall, no longer need rooms to submit, no longer need applause to exist. And because you stop forcing power, you often carry more of it. This is why quiet dominance feels different from manipulation. Manipulation controls others. Quiet dominance governs self so well, others naturally respond. One is pressure, the other is presence. One creates fear, the other creates respect. One is unstable, the other compounds. So how do you build this final level? Keep promises to yourself, sharpen competence, regulate emotion, speak with precision, need less, observe more, leave what degrades you, stand where values align, practice calm under friction, choose dignity over display. Repeat long enough and identity changes. Eventually you walk into spaces differently, not trying to be somebody, being somebody, not hunting validation, carrying value, not asking permission to exist, simply rooted. And people feel it. Some will admire it, some will resent it, some will test it, some will learn from it, but none of that matters as much as this. You finally belong to yourself, and a person who belongs to themselves becomes difficult to move, difficult to deceive, difficult to diminish, difficult to replace. That's quiet social dominance, not the power of controlling rooms, the power of no longer being controlled by them.
There are people who spend their entire lives chasing power. Power through money, power through beauty, power through status, power through applause, power through titles, power through being feared. And yet many of them remain fragile inside, because anything given by the outside world can be taken by the outside world. Money can shift, crowds can leave, titles can fade, beauty can change, praise can turn cold. But the power you built in silence, the power of emotional control, the power of self-respect, the power of calmness under pressure, the power of needing less, the power of seeing clearly, the power of standing firm without noise, that power travels with you into every room, every relationship, every loss, every opportunity, every season of life. This journey was never only about reading people or speaking better or becoming more respected. It was about something deeper, becoming someone harder to break, because life will test everyone with rejection, delay, betrayal, misunderstanding, loneliness, pressure, unexpected endings. And in those moments, talent alone will not save you. Looks will not save you. Potential will not save you. Even intelligence may not save you. What saves people then is inner structure, the ability to remain clear when emotions rise, to remain steady when plans collapse, to remain dignified when others become small, to remain whole when something leaves, to remain disciplined when motivation disappears. That is real advantage. Not flashy advantage, not social media advantage, not temporary advantage. The kind of advantage that compounds quietly for years while others keep restarting. Some people will never understand your growth. They only knew the version of you that reacted easily, needed approval, explained too much, stayed too long, doubted yourself, shrank in rooms. Let them remember that version. You are not required to remain familiar for people committed to your old identity. Growth often feels offensive to those who benefited from your weakness. Let them be confused. Your task is not to remain convenient. Your task is to become complete. Remember this, you do not need to be the loudest to lead. You do not need to be feared to be respected. You do not need to chase attention to be seen. You do not need to control others to become powerful. You only need to master the one person most people never truly master, yourself. Master your reactions. Master your standards. Master your attention. Master your speech. Master your need for approval. Master your ability to walk away. Master your peace. And life begins to open in ways force never could. Because when a person becomes emotionally intelligent, they stop fighting every battle, stop proving every point, stop begging every room, stop collapsing at every storm. They move differently, choose differently, love differently, win differently, quietly, cleanly, powerfully. So, from this moment forward, pause before reacting, observe before trusting, think before speaking, detach before panicking, leave what dishonors you, protect what grounds you, build what outlasts moods, and never underestimate the force of a calm mind in a chaotic world. One final truth,
The world is full of people trying to be impressive. Be uncommon, be unshakable, because in the end, the loud are often remembered briefly, but the steady change everything.